At OPTAVIA, our mission is to offer the world lifelong transformation, one healthy habit at a time. The following audio contains the personal testimonials of independent coaches and clients within the OPTAVIA community. Their results are based on the unique experiences of their journey. We cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. We hope these stories inspire you to continue your journey with or join OPTAVIA, but please note they have not been verified and your individual journey to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you speak with a healthcare provider in the U.S. or a doctor in Singapore and Hong Kong prior to beginning your journey with OPTAVIA. Additionally, this audio may contain income or earning representations of some independent OPTAVIA coaches. We cannot guarantee financial success. Success with OPTAVIA is derived from successful sales efforts, which require hard work, diligence, skill, persistence, competence, and leadership. OPTAVIA acknowledges that this audio may be accessible to OPTAVIA coaches in the U.S., Hong Kong, and Singapore. For independent OPTAVIA coaches operating in the U.S., please see the OPTAVIA Income Disclosure Statement for statistics on actual earnings of U.S. coaches under the U.S. Compensation Plan. Please note that the Income Disclosure Statement only applies to independent OPTAVIA coaches operating in the U.S. under the U.S. Compensation Plan and does not in any way constitute any representations as to actual or potential accrual of benefits for Hong Kong or Singapore coaches under the International Compensation Plan. Yours in Health, the OPTAVIA team.
So welcome to our Habits of Health community time. Today, we're going to be talking about vision boards, and I'm so excited to talk to you about that. So this time of year, a lot of time people think about what is it that they want to create coming up, right? A lot of people call those resolutions, and I like to think about the future that I want. The best way to predict the future is to create it. Right? And today we're going to be talking about a powerful tool that will help us do just that, the vision board. We're going to be talking about what is the power of the vision board, why it works, how to put it together, how to make it compelling, and then how to build the life that that vision board represents. My name, as I mentioned, is Donni Alvarenga, and I joined this community because I was looking to lose some weight. I had just had 2 little babies, and I did not know how to lose the weight that I gained after they were born. Now, I say that I did not know, but I really did know. I was a nurse practitioner, and I had run a weight management program for kids, and I knew what to do, but I couldn't figure out how to implement what I knew when I had 2 babies in the mix. And when I joined this community, it offered me the tools to make that vision a reality. And when I discovered that I could make my vision a reality, that I could lose weight, it actually taught me something very powerful. It taught me how to dream again. Okay. It taught me how to ask the question, wouldn't it be cool if? And it started by me asking the question, wouldn't it be cool if I could have something I've always wanted, which I had always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And I didn't think that that would ever be possible. But I allowed myself to ask that question. And about 8 or 9 years ago, I put this vision board that you see on the screen together. And I put that vision board based on this question, wouldn't it be cool if I could be a stay-at-home mom? And beyond thinking about things that I had always wanted, this community gave me permission to get wild and crazy and start asking wild and crazy questions of things I had never thought of before. It allowed me to ask the question, wouldn't it be cool if my kids had both mom and dad home? And as I look at this vision board, I have chills thinking about the reality that I was living when I put it together. And thinking about the fact that today my kids have both mom and dad home. And so today I want to talk about the power that there is in a vision board, because the reality that I live today is a direct result of myself giving myself permission to want what I want today back then, when I thought the thought was absurd, when I thought the thought was impossible. So I'm excited to talk to you about that today. I'm curious to find out who we are talking to today. What best describes you? Are you a guest? Did somebody care about you enough to invite you to join us today? Are you a client here in the United States or a client in either Hong Kong or Singapore? Are you an OPTAVIA coach, either in the United States or in Hong Kong or Singapore? We're excited to have you with us. Welcome. So I am so glad that Dr. A put together this system. Every week we come together to break down the habits of health and learn how it is that we can live our best life, right? How it is that we can live the healthiest version of ourselves. If you do not own the habits of health system, I invite you to message your coach or the person that invited you right now to find out how it is that you can get it, because it is an invaluable resource. If you own it, I would love for you to type into the chat, what is your favorite element? So today we're going to be talking about, as I mentioned, vision boards, and we're going to understand the why behind visualization. Okay. We know that any result that we create in life is the direct result of mindset with skill set and action, right? So we're going to start by understanding the why behind visualization, and we're going to learn simple steps to create a vision board that is empowering and powerful. And we're going to set you up to be able to create your own vision board. So why visualization? What is visualization? Visualization is an intentional practice of imagining in your head what you want, the life you want, with the intent to make it real. This is the clincher, okay? This is not just fantasizing and daydreaming. Visualization is an intentional practice that allows us to become intentional about what we want to create. So what are some of the benefits of visualization? Well, first of all, visualization, our mind, what we see behind our mind dictates our behavior. Our behavior lines up with what we see in our mind's eye. And so if we want to change anything in our life, everything begins and ends between the ears. And so if we can learn the skill set and we can learn to boss our thoughts, right, to create that vision in our mind, we can then align our behaviors to make it real. Now, visualization also fosters hope. It births hope. When you imagine something that you want, when you imagine a future that is maybe better than what you have right now, it births hope. And hope is a catalyst for change, right? Now, the other thing that visualization does is that it helps build purpose. Now, you might engage in daily actions and they may seem mundane and they may seem to wear you down. But when you know that you are doing this with the purpose in mind, with an end game in mind, all of a sudden it infuses that activity with purpose, and it can change your attitude surrounding that action. And so there are many different reasons why visualization is an important tool when it comes to building well-being. Not only that, but in terms of purpose, the Journal of American Medical Association published an article in 2019 about the health benefits of having a sense of purpose and how it actually can be a health protective quality. This is one of my favorite quotes by Dr. A. He says in his book, in the Life book on page 103, "My goal is for you to become the dominant force in your life. It's the ability to respond to whatever life throws at you, to respond in a way that will always help you in your life building process." When you understand that you are the dominant force in your life, you also understand that there are circumstances in life that you can't control. Now, I homeschool, and so bear with me as we use an algebraic formula here. I love how Jamil Fraser put it, is that there are events and there's outcomes, right? E plus R equals O, okay? And when you think about algebra, there's constants and there's variables. A constant is something you can't change. You might not be able to change an event, okay? If you decide that you're going to create an outcome by creating a vision board and deciding the outcome you want to create, the variable is your response. And it's in your response that you reclaim your power. When you have a vision, it allows you to dictate the response to whatever event comes your way. So I'm curious to find out today, are you familiar with vision boards? your options are yes, I've made one before. No, I've heard of it, but I've not made one before, or no, but I'm interested in learning more. I'm curious to find out what your experience is with them. So what is a vision board? A vision board is a tool that helps you first of all, clarify what you want, and then it helps you focus on the things that matter most to you. It really creates that target for the daily actions that you take. It paints a picture of what it is that you want, and it creates a powerful magnet. Okay, when you put a vision board together in the proper way, it creates a powerful magnet that compels you into action. Basically, you tell your brain what to create. And very often people are afraid to say what they want. They're afraid to let themselves want because they don't know how they're going to make it real. And today I want to invite you to give yourself permission, because once you tell your brain what you want, your brain is going to go to work behind the scenes to figure out how. So I'm curious to find out what our results were from our poll. Let's see what our results were. So 38% of you have made a vision board before. 51% of you have heard of it, but have never made one. And 11% said that you've never made one, but you're interested in learning more. So I'm excited because over 50% of you have not made one. And we're hoping that by the end of tonight, you will have all the information you need to put one together before the end of the year. I am so excited to introduce you guys to Greg Rex. He is a master at vision boards and creating lives that you want. And so Greg, I want to welcome you tonight so that you can share a little bit of your story and, tips on how people can put this vision board together in an empowering way.
Thanks, Donnie, for kicking us off. This is absolutely my favorite topic, I think, in the world. I'm obsessed with goal setting and vision board. I'm going to take you back and I'm going to tell you two stories that have happened to me that hopefully will inspire you and then give you some context for why this is important. It's worth the time. It's worth the effort to do this. 1991, I was working with Tony Robbins. This is 29 years ago. I was one of his brand new rookies and I had set goals. So Tony was big on teaching us to set goals. So I had my goal board, and I think there's value in having both a vision board that is images and what we're going to talk about tonight. There's also value having a goal board that's kind of specific. It's geared on specific outcomes that you want to create. And it's time bound. It's usually within a year or so. Whereas a vision board could be 3, 5, 10 years long. It could be something really out there that you're stretching for. But my goal board was on my wall, but I needed to be reminded. So what I did is I created a little miniature 3x5 card with my goal. My goal was to win this trip to Fiji. And you had to be a top producer. You had a certain income revenue goal. And then you had to meet those numbers. So I had this picture of Fiji on my dashboard in my car. And I had a picture of my top producer goal that I was shooting for. And I had a picture of my girlfriend at the time, because if I won, I get to bring her with me. So I was all excited. I put this on my dashboard in my car. I put it by the phone near where I was working in my office. And what it did is it really motivated me to stay focused on those daily actions. So long story short, I won't tell you, but I did win that contest. I got a chance to go to Fiji with Tony and his family and the other top producers and Martin Sheen. And it was a highlight. It was like one of those things when you set a goal that big, and I had to break records to win this. And when you set a goal that big and you achieve it, it gives you like this juice that says, oh, I want to do it again. So I've been doing it every year, fanatically goal setting this time of year, breaking it down quarterly, checking in monthly with those goals, and then having daily actions for them. And I do a vision board every year as well. So I really want to encourage you to do that. The second story that I want to share is when I was a little older. This was in 2012. I had found OPTAVIA. I was on my journey for getting healthy, and I had built a pretty large business. I was a global director, but I had this vision of I wanted to move up into the mountains. I wanted to live near a ski resort. I wanted to have a mountain cabin. So in 2012, I put it on my goal board and my vision board, and I started looking at it every year. And I didn't just look at it. The law of attraction is a really powerful thing. It's when your emotions and your body are connected to some vision in the future, and all these waves almost harmonize and they pull towards each other. But they don't work without action. Like you can't just sit on the couch and pray for your vision to come. You got to get up and do the work. And so with this vision board I had was a picture of of a cabin that I wanted in this beautiful area. And for 3 years, I worked on my business. I worked on going up and looking at houses. I looked at over 60 different cabins. But I ended up using that vision to inspire the action, that purposeful action Donni was talking about. I doubled my business. I saved a ton of money. And finally, after looking at 60 properties, I finally found the dream house. And now here I am living in this cabin with 40 acres, and it's a dream come true. So I really want to encourage you. We're going to tell you next how to create a vision board, but I just want to encourage you how important it is to give yourself permission to dream and don't hold back. And we're going to give you some tips on that right now.
So the first question is, what do you want? And I mentioned earlier, really give yourself permission to want it. I know that it's scary to think, but what if I can't have it? You know, there's that whole question, but what if I fall? But what if you fly? Okay. So we want to invite you to give yourself permission to want something. So Greg, how is it that people can kind of walk through the process of discovering what it is that they want?
We're going to give you some simple steps right now, just a couple questions you can ask yourself. And there's 3 parts. When we talk about structural tension, we talk about goal setting, we talk about 3 things: a vision of where you want to go, your current reality, where am I right now? And between the vision of where you want to go and where you are, there's tension. And that tension is natural. It's awesome. It's what builds the momentum to go. And then the third question is, what's my next step? So the whole purpose here is to get clear on what you want. So let's ask a question. When we look at the trilogy is healthy body, healthy mind, and healthy finances. If you were to give yourself a score where you are right now, 1 to 10, 10 being optimal, 1 being terrible, what would you give yourself for a score for healthy body on 1 to 10? Just make a note of that or even write it down. Second, what would you give yourself as a score for your healthy mind? We're a healthy mind. We look at relationships. We look at our engagement at work, our fulfillment, our spiritual time, our community involvement, our hobbies and fun. Give yourself a score from 1 to 10 is where you are right now on the healthy mind. The next question is healthy finances. Again, scale of 1 to 10, 10 being optimal. Where are you with your abundance, your cash flow, your savings, your financial freedom? Do you have resources to create memories and experiences, to contribute and to tithe or to give gifts? So give yourself a financial score 1 to 10. Now that's the current reality. So realize that's your starting point. Now what we're going to do is ask you to dream and go into the future and think about what your optimal future, a year, 2 years, 3 years from now would look like. So here's a simple way to do this. And Donni already mentioned it. Go to each of those areas in healthy body, healthy mind, and healthy finances and ask this question. Wouldn't it be cool if, and then just dream and write out a bunch of things. Like do this as like it's a bucket list and there's not a limit on how many things you can have. This is like you have a magic wand and you can create the life you want. And so give yourself permission like a little kid. Remember when you were a kid, you could dream? We got those dreams kind of beat out of us. Go back to that childlike innocence of dreaming like Donni did. And like the other speakers you've heard that you're going to hear tonight, how they did and how I did. Give yourself permission to dream. I will almost warn you, be careful what you dream of because it's highly likely if you take action, it's going to come to fruition. So ask those questions in all 3 areas and just pick like 2 or 3 goals that really fire you up, that get you excited, and write those down and then either journal about that and what's that going to mean to you and your family and really start picturing it. And then we're going to go to some other steps. There's one other little tip I'll tell you. If you need help dreaming, if you're a little bit stuck in that area, ask your coach we have a process called Lead from the Future, Act in the Now. It's one of our habits that we teach at OPTAVIA. Lead from the Future, Act in the Now is that process of jumping into the future and seeing yourself already having those visions. And they have a little worksheet, and we'll put that in the chat for you. But if you need help dreaming, get with your coach, and they will help you do it.
Oh my goodness. So good, Greg. So good. Absolutely. If you need help dreaming, connect with the person that invited you. Now, once you have a little bit of an idea of what it is that you want, next up is to make it tangible. There are so many demands in life that are going to pull your attention in every direction. And when you have it tangible, it will help you focus. And so there's many different ways to put a vision board together. The truth is that there's no rules, but we're going to give you some best practices. And And I have found that clipping images and putting them into oh gosh, I just drew a blank. A Pinterest account is the simplest way versus having to go through millions of magazines to find the perfect image. You know, you can clip these images and put them into a Pinterest account. There are two secrets, okay? Two secrets to really making your vision board compelling. The number one is it must connect with you on an emotional level. Like if it doesn't make you sick and scared, or if it doesn't evoke an emotion, then it doesn't probably need to be on your vision board. It needs to evoke an emotion, okay? It needs to mean something to you. And it needs to be just outside the realm of what you believe is possible. And that's why I said it may evoke some, like, it may make you feel a little bit scared, okay? And I'm going to invite you to lean into that and give yourself permission to want it, even though you are scared. Now, once you've clipped these images and put them into Pinterest, you can use apps like Canva or Pixlr, or I know that Costco has a collage maker, and you can just put all of these images together and have it printed out. Okay. And so you make it however it is that inspires you. Now you might be listening to all of this and you might think, yeah, but I don't believe any of that. I don't believe in the power of an image. Okay. Well, I cannot wait for you to hear Stephanie's story, because she didn't believe, did you, Stephanie?
Oh no.
So tell us a little bit about your story.
Thanks so much, Donni. You know, unlike Greg, who, by the way, was kind of one of my idols when I was on program, I saw his picture in the Habits of Health book and I was like, I want to meet him someday. And look, I'm in a Zoom with him right now. You know, I became a coach after losing 40 pounds and my business was humming along. And, you know, at some point, my business mentors challenged me to make a vision board. And I'm just going to be honest, I thought it was super cheesy. I did not believe it would work. And I think probably in the past I had made one without success, you know, I didn't really have a vehicle. And so I didn't have a big belief in the vision board per se. And, you know, so what I did is I grabbed some images that did conjure up some emotion for me. And I put together this vision board and I kind of like checked the box and I hung it up on my wall. And I hung it in a place I could see it every day. So, you know, fast forward a year and a half later, I'm working hard at my business, but my personal life really kind of started falling apart. And you guys, nothing can prepare you for that emotional abyss of a huge life event. And for me, it was a divorce. It was just like all the wind came totally out of my sails. And I didn't feel worthy to help anyone. I just didn't know what to do. I felt totally stuck. And it was ironically at this point, I had my vision board taped to my wall and it actually fell off one day. Like the tape kind of came unstuck and it just swished off. And I walked in my room and it was laying on the floor. And I'm like, yeah, that's where it belongs. And I picked it up and I just didn't even have the heart to hang it back up. I actually shoved it under my bed because I didn't want to be reminded of those hopes and those dreams. It was hurtful to me to be reminded of those. And I have this good friend who got divorced the same year as me. And she called me one morning a couple of months ago and she said, Steph, you're never going to believe this. I made a vision board a year ago and I got it back out. And I've actually accomplished like 3 or 4 things on it during my divorce year. And I was like, that's so cool. I should go get mine back out. So I looked under my bed, I pulled it out, and it was so crazy, you guys. So the first thing that caught my eye was this image of in southern Utah, this Red Rock amphitheater, and there's a person standing there. And that was the first thing I saw. And I recognized it as a trip I had just gone on, where I was standing in a Red Rock amphitheater. And Donnie's kind of put these arrows on. That's me. That's a picture that my friend took of me. You know, the next one was I had this goal to become a climber. I'd always wanted to be a climber. And I had a friend snap a picture of me this spring. And I looked at that girl and I thought, she's confident. She's strong. She's a climber. Like it just happened. I threw a picture up there of a river in Alaska. And this craziest thing happened. I had my brother ask me to go on a fishing trip with him. And it was like my ex-husband was getting married right when he was going to be in Alaska. And I thought, there's no better place to be. I just want to get out of town. And I went to Alaska and I took a picture of this beautiful river. And I didn't recognize until I pulled that vision board out that I was there. And so all these things had started happening, all these unattainable goals, houses were on there. And it was the hardest year of my life, you guys. All these things were happening. But that love right there, I just want to talk for a second about that love, that gold love balloon. That was hard for me to put on my vision board because I felt my relationship crumbling and it felt weird to put it up there. I didn't know if I should or I shouldn't. And when I pulled out my vision board and saw the love, I immediately knew that I was supposed to learn how to love myself. And it was that self-love that developed, that enabled me, it gave me that confidence to really go after my dreams. And, we can't predict all the ways that life is going to knock us down. Like, who saw this pandemic coming? I didn't. But when you have a vision and you have a vehicle and you put your vision up where you can see it every single day, it's amazing. It's exactly what Donni said. When you tell your brain what you want, your brain gets to work on the how.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I love the idea of putting your vision board somewhere where you can see it, because it keeps bossing your thoughts, whether you're fully conscious of it or not. What you're doing is you're bossing your thoughts. And so what is a way that you can do that? You can put your vision board on your phone, right? What are some other ways that people can make the board visible?
I think just putting it anywhere that you're going to be looking at it all the time. I mean, Donni, you even mentioned putting it in the bathroom. I was laughing, but I thought, what a great spot for that. Put it somewhere you can't help but look at it, because it's really true. These images are going into our mind, whether we recognize it or not, aren't they?
Yes. So, Greg talked about putting it on the dash of his car, put it on your bathroom mirror, in your bathroom, wherever it is that you're going to see it every day. Okay. And then step number 4 is understand that it's going to take action. Okay. I know that the idea of, but I don't know how, is very scary. And we invite you to connect with the person that invited you today to learn maybe how you can put a plan together. But Stephani, did your vision come to fruition in the timeline that you thought it was gonna?
Oh my gosh, I got so discouraged at different points in my journey because I felt like it should all happen faster. And Amber and Jared Smithson shared this quote with me that I loved. They said, most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10. I think this is a Bill Gates quote. And I've thought about that so often. It's consistent action. And then I love this whole idea of not having expiration date on our dreams. It's so important to not put an expiration date.
Absolutely. So have a plan, understand it's going to take, results, and the life that you want is the result of consistency over time. Okay. And I love that Dr. A actually broke down the process of a micro habit. A micro habit is something that you do on your worst day, when you're on vacation, on a weekend, on, a holiday. Okay. It's like brushing your teeth. Okay. And the anatomy of a micro habit is that there's a cue, there's a routine, there's an instant reward, and there's a long-term investment. So let's say, for example, that you have a vision of running a marathon and you have that, you put that on your vision board. Well, the cue might be that you leave your sneakers by the bed so that when you wake up in the morning, you see, and you're going to put your sneakers on and go for the run. The routine is going for the run. It's very important that you honor the cue. Okay. Honor the cue, keep your word to yourself, honor your vision, and honor yourself. Okay. That's where the consistency comes into play. Take note of how amazing it feels to do things even when you don't feel like doing it. That's the instant reward. Take note of the endorphin rush, right? And then compare where you're doing and your progress as you go along, and keep that vision board up, because it will draw you. As I mentioned, it becomes a magnet. Your behavior aligns with the images in your head. Okay. Dr. A has talked about the fundamental choice, primary choices, and secondary choices. If you break this down and you use the fundamental choice as your new identity that you've decided. Okay. It's a choice that excludes all others. That's a decision. Okay. And then you outline goals that support that identity. And then you engage in the daily action and understand that it's in the consistency that you find the win. There is no reason why it is that you can't have anything that you put your mind to. Okay. So today we talked about the power of a vision board and how it creates a magnet that ignites the action that can lead you to whatever results that you're hoping to create. I invite you to commit to putting together a vision board before the end of the year. If you are willing to make that commitment, I want to invite you to type a 1 into the chat and to message your coach right now to tell them when you're going to send them your vision board. And I want you to pull out your digital calendar and block off some time to get it done. Okay. We hope that this has been incredibly valuable to you today. We're curious, did you enjoy our community time today? So you can actually find a whole collection of other habits of health calls on the YouTube channel. If you go on there and under OPTAVIA and click the subscribe button, and also you can find it on podcast. So you can have a whole collection of these precious thoughts and things that can help facilitate you creating the life that you want. Next week, we invite you to join Chantel Flake as she talks about ultra health, living longer full out. So just as vision boards inspire us and keep us focused, I'm going to tell you what stories inspire me of what I can give myself permission to want. And you're going to want to join us and stay for the rest of our call today, where you're going to get to hear a couple of stories of people that wanted something and how it is that they made it happen. Just now you got to hear about people that wanted something and used a vision board. We're going to be talking a little bit more about how it is the vehicle that they used to make it happen. So we invite you to join us.
At OPTAVIA, our mission is to offer the world lifelong transformation, one healthy habit at a time. The prior audio contained the personal testimonials of independent coaches and clients within the OPTAVIA community. Their results are based on the unique experiences of their journey. We cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. We hope those stories inspire you to continue your journey with or to consider joining OPTAVIA. But please note that they have not been verified and your individual journey to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you speak with a healthcare provider in the U.S. or a doctor in Singapore and Hong Kong prior to beginning your journey with OPTAVIA. Additionally, this audio may have contained income or earning representations of some independent OPTAVIA coaches. We cannot guarantee financial success. Success with OPTAVIA is derived from successful sales efforts, which require hard work, diligence, skill, persistence, competence, and leadership. OPTAVIA acknowledges that this audio may be accessible to OPTAVIA coaches in the U.S., Hong Kong, and Singapore. For independent OPTAVIA coaches operating in the U.S., please see the OPTAVIA Income Disclosure Statement for statistics on actual earnings of U.S. coaches under the U.S. Compensation Plan. Please note that the Income Disclosure Statement only applies to independent OPTAVIA coaches operating in the U.S. under the U.S. Compensation Plan and does not in any way constitute any representations as to actual or potential accrual of benefits for Hong Kong or Singapore coaches under the International Compensation Plan. Yours in health, the OPTAVIA team.